Good morning. Good morning. It is Wednesday morning now. Week started kind of flying by. Division Two football show is what we got on the docket for today. Of course, I am Devin Albertson. As I'm trying to get some stuff going here a little bit, make sure it's up and running. Yes, it is. So I'm glad we are live right now on Facebook. So everybody's having a good Wednesday morning so far. Of course, this is Division Two show. Here's the map showing where the conferences are in Division Two. We're going to be talking a little bit about the MIAA today, as well as the PSAC, the PSAC. We're also talking about a game, the CIAA. Where else we're going today? The Gulf South Conference as well, and the Mountain East. So jump around a little bit today. There's 7 games we'll be talking about in today's show, so it should be interesting to see all those go. Give you my predictions for how those 7 games will go. Of course, here is the AP top 25. Not AP, I guess it's the coaches poll for Division Two. Northwest Missouri State got all 34 votes again, as they are right now considered the best team in Division Two. We'll see how that goes. Offense still needs work. We'll talk about them more in a minute. Shepherd at 2. We'll talk about their game versus Fairmont State coming up this weekend. IUP, Indiana, Pennsylvania. They're number 3. Talk about their game at Slippery Rock, who's at number 9 this week. That's one of our games we're going to talk about. Mankato, UIndy, Midwestern State moved up after beating Commerce last week. Grand Valley State. Fort Hays, talk about their game versus Washburn. Where's the Slippery Rock? Central Washington, Commerce, Pueblo, Winona State after their big win over Sioux Falls. Bowie State, Ferris State. I'm talking about Bowie State in their game versus Virginia State coming up, because right now that's going to be a big one right there. Let me try something here real quick. Sorry, people. Give me 1 second. Okay, there we go. We're missing number 25 there, Humboldt. We'll get them in this picture too because they are ranked. Bowie State, we'll talk about their game versus Virginia State, who was just outside the top 25. You have Ferris and Ashland. They'll play another big game in the GLIAC coming up next weekend. Assumption, Sioux Falls, Southeastern Oklahoma State. Get some votes here. Mesa, sorry. Delta State, West Georgia, and West Alabama. They're the Gulf South. We have the 2 West playing this week. West Georgia at West Alabama. We'll talk about that game. Delta State, they're traveling to West Florida. We'll talk about that game as well. Wingate and then Humboldt State after the loss to Central Washington last week. So that's the coaches poll right there. Kind of hard to see so far this year. A lot of one-loss teams ranked, so it's really tough so far to see kind of everybody's at. They haven't played some best competition yet. So we'll get off the poll here real quick, and we'll go straight to game number 1. Not much really to call for picking this game. I just want to talk about this for all the Northwest fans who watch my show, because that's where I'm based out of, is Maryville. Go to college at Northwest, the student radio station there, call games. Right now, Northwest 6-0, taking on 0-6 Northeastern State this weekend in Tahlequah, Oklahoma. As you can see, Northeastern just bad. I think there's 168 teams in Division Two, and they are 160th in a lot of categories. They're not good on offense. They're best at passing the ball. Northwest is a very good pass defense, only like 148 yards per game, which is the 14th best in Division Two. So I struggle to see Northeastern State scoring this game. I have it 52-0 Northwest. I think they call the dogs off a little bit early, try to get healthy, try to coast through this game. So we'll see what Northwest can do here. A lot of injuries right now, but a couple guys coming back out into the fray for Northwest, including guard Miles McIntyre will be back this week, linebacker Jared Bishop, both coming off suspensions. They'll be back this week for the Bearcats. So 2 big additions to this team midway through the year. Right now, trying to get a couple receivers in Bain and Shane Williams, trying to get those guys healthy. Manuel Jones trying to get healthy as well. So looks like Northwest this week, just a week to get healthy, gets back on track a little bit here. Struggled the last couple of weeks versus Central Missouri and Central Oklahoma. So we'll see what Northwest can do here on the road. Stay healthy, win comfortably. I think it's 52-0. The defense is too good for Northwest to allow too many points. Just go down there, get the win, come back healthy. That's the biggest goal right now for the Bearcats. Get back to health healthy so they can get through the rest of the year, because they have homecoming versus Lindenwood here in 2 weeks. We'll get their guys back for that game, because Lindenwood can be a problem against some teams, so we'll see what happens there. But 52-0 Bearcats, just need to get healthy. That's all really to talk about that game. The second game of the weekend, the MIAA game of the week. They're 5-1 Washburn at number 8 Fort Hays State, who's undefeated on the year. As you see, the offenses are pretty even. Fort Hays moves the ball a little bit more, but they score about the same amount of points. Passing ball is where Fort Hays makes their living. Rushing is more for Washburn. Pretty balanced offense over there in Topeka, though, for the Ichabods. Scoring defense, Fort Hays definitely has a little bit of an advantage there, but Washburn can play real defense, too. It says 27-21 according to Massey. This game, get some notes here for this game. Let's see. Washburn leads the all-time series 44-24 and 3. Last 5 years, Washburn is 4-1 against the Tigers. Washburn this year is 5-0 against teams below 500 and 0-1 versus the only team above, which was Northwest, so it's kind of hard to tell how good they actually are right now. This is a big barometer for them. Fort Hays, a big win versus UCM, is 35-6 at home. I think it was week 2. Still have most of the tough games left in their schedule. Washburn still has UCM, Mo West, UCO, and at Emporia. So 4 tough games left in their schedule after this one. And then Fort Hays, of course, at Mo West versus Emporia, at Northwest, and then versus UNK at the end of the year. So we'll see what happens here with Fort Hays and Washburn. I think Hays comes away with the win here. I think it's going to be low scoring, 20-13, Fort Hays over Washburn. I think teams are going to grind out a win here. I'll give Washburn. I'll give Fort Hays the edge mainly because they're at home here. It's really tough to play out in Hays, even though Topeka is not as far a drive as other schools. Fort Hays plays really well at home, so I will take Fort Hays in this game over Washburn, 20-13. Now, probably the D2 game of the week this week. Number 3 IUP at number 9 Slippery Rock. Both teams undefeated. I believe that they're both in the same Division 2 out there in the PSAC as well. So this is huge implications for this game. Right now, both teams can score the ball really well. The big defense here is IUP plays defense. So I like what both teams are doing this year. Both teams have beaten the California PA as their common opponents. IUP also has a win over Ashland, who just beat Ferris State a couple weeks ago. So they're a really solid team. Slippery Rock, who have they beaten this year? Westchester and Mercier and at Mercier. So Slippery Rock also well tested in their wins this year. The win over Westchester 49-42 and 31-28 at Mercyhurst. IUP 26-23 win versus Ashland. So if you look at both these teams, both well tested so far this year. Cal PA lost to Slippery Rock 47-44 in overtime, and IUP beat them 26-10 in regulation. So right now, I think the IUP plays a little better defense, can be low scoring, which will favor the Crimson Hawks. I'm going to go, what I have here, 24-17 IUP over Slippery Rock in this game. I know Massey has a 38-31. He has too many points to give that IUP defense to allow. I think Slippery Rock's going to hold him down a little bit, so I think IUP wins this game by a slim margin, 7 points, but it should be a fun game out there. I will say this is the second meeting all time. Both these teams are ranked in the top 10. 1998 was the other time. Number 10, Slippery Rock, upset number 2, IUP in the last second Hail Mary pass, 27-21, Slippery Rock. I want to thank the guys on the message board for saying that at the beginning of the week, so I could have that tidbit right there. That's kind of interesting to see. I think it was SRU88. Thank you for the tidbit there. That was always nice to have that little stat for this show. Also, I want to say here, it's the pass defense for IUP versus the passing offense of Slippery Rock. Should be interesting to see how that matchup works out. And then see if Slippery Rock's run defense can slow down IUP in the running game, averaging 265 yards per game, top 10 rushing attack in the nation, versus a less than average Slippery Rock defense, allowing 225 yards on the ground. So Slippery Rock's going to have to stop that, but I think ground attack's going to waste some clock. 24-17 IUP in this one over Slippery Rock. Now we'll go to the Gulf South Conference. West Georgia at West Alabama. Here's the situation here. West Georgia wins. They'll pull within a 3-way tie with West Alabama and Delta State for the Gulf South title race right now. If West Alabama wins, they've already beaten Delta State last week. They'll be well on their way with the clear shot for the outright conference title down there in the Gulf South. This was on stake this week. If you look, West Alabama's passing offense versus the passing defense of West Georgia should be interesting to see how that works out. almost 280 yards passing per game for West Alabama, only 140 allowed for West Georgia. So that should be interesting to see how those two match up. And then the rushing attack for West Georgia versus the rush defense of West Alabama, both top 25 in their respective categories. They're rushing offense for the Wolves and the rush defense for the Tigers. I think that West Georgia is going to give them a good scare here on the road, but West Alabama, a little bit too much for them. One couple things I want to say here. West Georgia only losses at Delta State 17-10. They do have wins versus Albany State 48-16 and versus North Alabama 37-23. This will also be West Georgia's only second true road game of the year. They've been at home down at University Stadium all year long, so they're not used to making this road trip. So we'll see how that goes for them in this game against West Alabama. For the Tigers, only loss was at FCS Samford. That was 49-41. They scored 41 straight points in that game to bring it close. And I've heard some people say that game went another quarter. West Alabama wins that game by a touchdown. They just had so many athletes on the field they could compete with an FCS school. And Samford was ranked 17th at that time in FCS. So also wins at North Alabama 38-17 and at Delta State last week 29-26. So I'll take West Alabama in this game. I'm going to take them in a close one, though. 34-33. West Alabama wins this game by a point. Massey says 31-28 West Alabama. I'll go a little higher scoring and a little closer. I think it's going to be a good game here between the Wolves and the Tigers down south. Next game, staying down south, same conference, number 21, Delta State at West Florida. West Florida only in their second year, but already 4-1. Down south, they're playing really well right now. Last year in their first meeting, Delta State won 55-51. So we'll see what happens this year. If you're Delta State, you're coming off a heartbreaker. Last week, they were ready to tie the game with a minute 05 left, had a 27-yard field goal, wide right. What can you say, college kickers? Tough break there for Delta State. If you look at the box score, they were just as good as West Alabama was last week. Thinking to watch the game, but it looked like Delta State was right there with them. So I'll take Delta State to win this game at West Florida. I think West Florida's doing a bunch of good stuff down there to stay relevant in the Gulf South, which is a really tough conference down there. But Delta State, I have them winning 34-21 on the road over West Florida. It is a 7-point right now spread for Massey, 34-27. What they're saying, I think Delta State's defense is going to hold them down a little bit here, maybe flex their muscles a bit, and try to reassert themselves in that conference a bit. Next game, we'll go to the CIAA conference. Number 14, Bowie State at Virginia State. Both teams are undefeated in that conference, same division as well. So right now, Bowie State, number 1 scoring offense and total offense in the nation, second in passing, just all around explosive on offense. We'll see what they can do this year. There's been some people saying stuff down there. I'm not sure how much I'm going to take into credit, but saying that this offense can't be stopped by anybody in the nation. I like to see them face a defense in Northwest, but right now they're playing Virginia State, who has a good defense in their own right. 5th in scoring defense, 7th in overall defense. So I think it's going to be a good game. I think Massey has a score a little too high for me, a 35-33 win for Bowie State. I think Virginia State going to be able to play a little better defense than that, as well as Bowie State. Their defense is no slouch, either 12th in the nation, 5th overall when it comes to yards allowed. Both of these offenses are explosive, but I think defense kind of wins out this game. Both of these teams have been playing average defenses so far. Their common opponent is, I think, Winston-Salem. Oops. Yes, Bowie State won 31-13, and Virginia State won 33-27. Virginia State leads all-time series 20-10, and they've won the last 5 games 3-2. But it's been close. Average score 30-27, pretty much there, with a couple overtime games there sprinkled in, one by Virginia State. So, including one triple overtime thriller. So a lot of these games have been really close between these two teams the last 5 years. I'm picking Bowie State in this one, though, 28-27 to win this one on the road. Should be a tough game, but I'll take the Bulldogs from Bowie State in this one over Virginia State. Then the last game we talked about here, Shepherd, number 2 in the nation, at Fairmont State. Fairmont's given them troubles in the past. Even though Shepherd has won the last 5 matchups and leads the all-time series 35-32 to 7. 7 ties in this series is kind of impressive in how many times they've played. Common opponents is Notre Dame. Shepherd won 54-49 versus them, while Fairmont State lost 19-14. So it's pretty much which style is going to win out here. Is it going to be Fairmont State's defense or Shepherd's offense. You can see Shepherd there, second scoring offense, second in total offense, and third in passing offense, all pretty much right behind Bowie State. So we'll see what happens there. Fairmont State, a really good defense, 15th in the nation, points allowed, total yards allowed, tied 8th right there. So, and a pretty good pass defense. So we'll see what works out here. I think Shepherd, their style wins out, though. I think they win this game 42-38. I think it's be a high-scoring game, but Massey has a 34-27 Shepherd. I have Shepherd winning this game, but it's going to be high-scoring in a shootout, kind of like it was versus Notre Dame. I think Shepherd offense is really good. Their defense, though, is really suspect right now. For number 2 team in the nation, need to get that thing fixed a little bit before the playoffs start. So if anybody has any questions, definitely shoot them my way. Also follow on Twitter at x106_sports for everything Bearcats. We'll be tweeting out scores during the game, of course, to see how everything's going up there. And then, there's my Twitter account at Devin Albertson. I'll be posting this to YouTube as well, so if you want to check it out again, it'll be on YouTube. I want to thank everybody for the past couple weeks who's been listening to my shows. Thank you for tuning in. It's been a blessing to have you guys watch the show. That's really all I got for you guys today. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I know I'll do my last week picks real quick, just to be fair and honest here. I went 3-3 in my picks last week. It wasn't great, but I was right on a few of them. So the ones I got wrong, we'll go those first. I picked Sioux Falls over Winona State. I was just told this week that Sioux Falls starting running back was out, so I don't know if I would take them over Winona if he had been out, but didn't know that. Still took Sioux Falls and that defense. Winona came out on top. Big win for Winona State up there in the Northern Sun. I took Humboldt over Central Washington. Central Washington put up 55 points and won that game kind of comfortably, so good job by Central Washington. They're now a top 10 team in Division II, according to the coaches poll. As they're number 10 right there in the nation, 6-0. They could be a sleeper team for the national championship, though. They always have some decent rosters out there. And I think 2009 was the last time they were really good, and they probably should have beat Northwest that year. Northwest blocked an extra point up in Central Washington that year to win 21-20. So Central Washington, a really good team in the past. I think they got their stuff back together up there in the GNAC. So keep an eye on them maybe later on in the year come playoff time. And then I took Texas A&M Commerce over Midwestern State. They almost came back and proved me right, but they were down too much early. They had a furious rally, 28-7, outscored into the game, but still lost by, I think, 5. So good win for Midwestern State. Commerce, they fell back a little bit in the polls. Where did they fall back to? They fall all the way back to 11 from 2. And then Midwestern State moved up from, I think it was 9 or 10 up to 6. So a lot of movement there in the polls to do Midwestern State to win over Commerce. So nice win there for Midwestern State at home. The games I got right. I like doing these. Westchester over Shippensburg. Westchester still not ranked, I don't believe, but they're right outside that top 25. Kind of surprised we're not ranked, honestly, with that win over undefeated Shippensburg. So we'll see what happens here next coming weeks. With West Georgia and West Alabama playing this week, one of those two teams will drop out. Humboldt has a tough game versus, I think, Azusa. So we'll see how that goes. I took IUP over California. That was great. And then, excuse me. And I took West Alabama over Delta State, and that one was proved right at the end. So 3-3 in my picks last week. Let's see if I can do better this week. I have Northwest 52-0 over Northeastern, and then I have Fort Hays 20-13 over Washburn. IUP 24-17 over Slippery Rock. I have West Alabama 34-33 over West Georgia. I have Delta State 34-21 over West Florida. I have Bowie State 28-27 over Virginia State. And then I have Shepherd 42-38 over Fairmont State. So that's my picks for this week. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Everybody have a great Wednesday. I will see you guys later tomorrow morning for the Missouri 8-Man Show here on Facebook Live and now recorded on YouTube.